Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, and you?
Yes, thank God, because I have, you know that I have a lot of problems with this thing. Wonderful.
Very great. So I'll tell us more about you.
I am leading a startup called Tech and Trash, where we obtain data from trash. We believe that trash is a valuable source of data because each product that you throw in the garbage carries valuable information. The where, the who, the what, the how. Those are things that can be answered by the product, the place where it was disposed, the time of disposal, the state it was. Suppose it was half full. It could be that the customer didn't like the product, so didn't even bother to consume it to the fullest. Um, and of course, who the customer was. And companies are not using that data, and they're missing out on a big thing because at the end they could prevent these products to end up in the ocean, which unfortunately is what's happening a lot today. And also they're missing on valuable data. And as you know, data is the foundation of AI. And then they can say that we're doing AI. Yeah, but if you don't use all the sources of data possible, you're not doing an AI. I see it that way. You know that AI again is fundamental. If then there is no such thing as bad data in this market. So if a company says, "Well, I don't need this particular way of data," then I'm sorry, but you're not doing machine learning. You're not doing AI. I don't know if you agree with that.
I totally agree with you about there's no bad data, especially because I'm the founder of Unexpected Data. And my main goal is to reveal the unexpected self in each of us. And how do I do that? I share within a podcast that I produce all the unexpected areas and especially society taboo area where we're using data and particularly society don't want to talk about it. So for example, sex, for example, sustainability, this is what I'm covering. And at the same time, I'm interviewing data experts and data enthusiasts who are working with data and can give each of us practical advices. So bad data, there's just what you do with the data. And what are
Exactly.
you doing then with your data?
You raise a good point. Is what you're doing with the data. Uh, when people say this data is not useful or something, basically they're saying I am unable to use this data. So they don't realize that there's no bad data. There's just bad people blaming the data. So it's a thing of not being able to look at the mirror and say, okay, I'm unable to do this thing properly. I don't belong in this market. Instead, no, the data is corrupt. This is useless data, etc. I'm sorry, you're throwing blame on the wrong person. So yeah, you raise a good point there. Actually, and you made a good point. I was reading your profile some time ago, and I was able to actually find an old news about from Pornhub. You were talking about being able to understand data and and use it even when it's related to sex. On the, I used to teach AI and big data in Madrid, where I was living before living in London. And to my students, I would show a print screen from a page that said that during had a lockdown that Washington D.C. had because they shut down the government some years ago. Pornhub increased because people were doing nothing in Washington, D.C. I mean, Washington, D.C. depends on the government, and the government wasn't working, so people had nothing to do. And Pornhub, for one particular gender, increased 12%, 12.3%. And for another type of gender, increased half, 6.32%. Now, I will ask people, what do you think the 12% was? Guys or girls? And what do you think the 6% was? Guys or girls? Maybe in our rather simple, old-fashioned way, many people think, okay, guys increased 12%. No, it was girls. Guys increased 6%. So yeah. And what do you do when you're faced with data like that? Are you willing to just accept it and then face the facts and produce an insight, or are you just willing to just deny it until you mold it to your own way of thinking? I'm sorry, but the data is the data, whether we like it or not. I don't know if you agree.
Yes, this is totally true. Data is the data, and it's telling you an aspect of the truth that maybe you didn't see it when you were observing your environment. And why talking about sex when we are in the data space? This is a very intriguing question. So, sex is the most intimate area in our life. It was here since the beginning of human being. And if we are not capable of being benevolent, of being nice, of respect in the most intimate sphere, and we are not able to track that or even to educate the youngest people, then how can we do that in the society? So data here is a real means to educate people, to help them be and reveal their unexpected self. So if you are able to be nice in your bedroom, you will be able to do good data science and also to make good money with good business.
So you're saying if you're a good lover, you should be a good data scientist. I get it. I'm joking. Yeah, but
I mean, data
I follow
science.
you. I follow you.
Data science is about, it's all about serving the people who are sharing their data. So you're, even though you are working for a company, your employer will be here to serve the final customer. So you're not here to use their data in a way that they are not aware of. You should be very clear in what you are doing with the data of those people that you are tracking. And then tell them, I use this specific data for this specific use case or project. And then maybe we will erase it. Facebook, for example, has invented the forgettable algorithm. So maybe a lot of company can learn from that and put that in place also.
That's interesting. A forgettable algorithm. Interesting. Actually, I was one of the things that I thought about discussing in this particular title, in this particular speech, which is like unexpected positions or different positions in data sciences. I don't really see anything unexpected. I don't really see anything unusual in this market. This market deals with the unexpected, deals with the unusual. And again, if you're unable to face what's coming, you shouldn't belong. You don't belong here. To that extent, my vision on which is actually, I see that a lot in LinkedIn. The other day I saw this post in LinkedIn from someone that said, what is the preferred programming language for data scientists, Python or R? And I said, neither. A data scientist is not a programmer, period. And then a lot of people, oh, what do you mean? Of course he's a programmer, blah, blah, blah. A data scientist is a scientist, period. I am a biologist. So in biology, you have the lead scientist who doesn't touch a microscope. Then he doesn't touch the rats. I remember when I was beginning my career in biology, I would have to clean rat poop, etc., because the main scientist is not going to do it. He has better things to do than clean rat poop. So likewise, a programmer is someone who is operational. And then as data scientist is a scientist. He gets the data, he looks for patterns, and he tells a programmer, go code something, just like a main data scientist, biologist will tell the lower biologist, listen, get this plate, analyze it, run this test, etc., and get back to me with the answers. And then I see then two levels: a guy, a data scientist who is a scientist, who follows proper science procedures, and then as you know, science is based in 4 steps. First is looking at something. I'm thinking, this is weird. Why is this happening? The second is creating a hypothesis. The third is testing it with as many times as you can. And the fourth is, once you think that you got statistics, this is a main word in this market, then you create a theory, but which is basically an answer to what you saw at the very beginning. So in data scientists, you get the data, you analyze it, you find weird stuff, you create a hypothesis, you do some number crunching, testing, etc. And then if you may prove or you may disprove the theory, the hypothesis. And this is the problem. When you get a data scientist and you mix it with a programmer is supposed to generate results. And then the results usually, science is not focused on generating results. It's focused on testing stuff. If it comes that it is the result that you thought it was, hooray, wonderful. But it could perfectly happen that it isn't, and life goes on. So this is why, for me, it's so dangerous to think that a data scientist is a programmer, because at the end, you're conditioning him to actually generate the results you wanted to generate, and then you basically have bullshit results at the end. You have what you wanted to see instead of actually the real insights. So I don't know if you could hear all my long talk, and then if you agree with me.
So I believe there's no, programmer, scientist against each other. Data science, something very complex, associated with social science or even biology, for example. It's an ecosystem. It's a whole world like the body, where each life experience, each skill set has its importance. And whatever that's the main question that I ask to the people that I collaborate with, especially data practitioners, it's, what are your values? We are not talking about if you are strong in math, in statistics. We are not talking about what coding language are you programming or are you most familiar with. We are just talking about you as an individual. And based on this value that you have raised up, you also can think about what you will not like to do. Maybe you would love to go to work for Google. Maybe you would love to go to work for Facebook, all this giant tech. But the competition is so high that maybe it's not a good fit for you. So what you can do, it's also what Jack said in the previous session: create your own project, create your own business, be an entrepreneur. There's so many areas where, data scientists are really going into it because there are some buzzwords around that, because all the big industries and company are looking at that. For example, blockchain, for example, graph knowledge and all of that. But there are really niches like the trash, like podcasting, like being an artist with data, like talking about sustainability, talking about AI ethics, which those areas where people are not especially thinking about that, because they are thinking, oh, those are blockers. At the end, I will not be able to do a lot of data science, because if we're talking about sustainability, maybe the provider of computing power on which I'm making my data algorithm is not it's not green, it's not a sustainable company. So us as data scientists, as data practitioners, maybe we need to think about, okay, if my algorithm it's taking a little bit longer to run and to finish, maybe I should not just raise up the computing power. Maybe I should take a smaller sample of data and think about this data set. Is it anonymized, not anonymized? Am I respecting or not the privacy, the consent of those customers that share the data and maybe are not aware that there's some kind of political, organizational goals, and they are just willing to help the organization be sustainable, but not being doing over profits, something like this. So really think about those little aspects that is really linking to your personality, to your values, and then just jump into it, try it out.
Couldn't agree more. Actually, I just saw a question from Hassan Diwan that kind of relates to what you were saying. Real world data scientists, in my experience, is more about proving that the higher ups are correct than actual science. Any thoughts? This is exactly what I used to tell my students. Listen, don't allow the big brass tell you what to do. You're there to produce results. If they don't agree with what the higher ups say, I'm sorry, but you are there to do a job and not to say yes, Buana, to what he says. And I believe that has to do with what you were saying. And then I don't know if I got it right. I don't know if you agree.
So real world data science, it depends what you define behind real words, because those use cases in Kaggle competition, they are also real world data science. The only difference is that somebody has cleaned the data. Somebody has made and shaped the data in a way that is really easy for data practitioners to, really deep dive into the modeling part and learn a bit about the data with EDA. But the real world data, you would see it's dirty. It's
just
dirty.
Like so the rat. Just like the rat
like
poop.
80 to 90% to just clean it. So
yeah,
be aware that you will become a Sherlock Holmes or a detective about the data first. And this, you will need to like it. You will need to be passionate about data and be very curious about the data, because the main goal is not you looking at the data. The main goal is really to serve the people, to really put in action all these values that you have and serve those people who share the data. That's all.
It's like I used to tell my students, listen, you have an entire world ahead of you. You can be head of a huge corporation because there's plenty of money, even for projects that make no sense, because a lot of investors, they don't understand this. They just want to jump into this thing. So why would you limit yourself to some night, especially because this frenzy will end. I remember my first I founded 5 companies in my life. The first one was an e-commerce consulting company when the internet was just a buzzword. Nobody even knew exactly what to do with the internet. And then and then I remember a lot of investors, they wanted to enter the internet, but if you spoke with them, they had very bad idea, if any, what the internet was. They just wanted in. So as someone who is jumping out of a university, he has an entire world in front of him. He may want to just get to a 9 to 5 job, which today pays well, because a data scientist, at least in Spain, makes 80,000 per year euros, which is a very high salary in Spain, more or less the same in terms of pounds here in United Kingdom. But this is going to end. I remember the same thing happened with internet. A web designer could earn 150K per year. Now he will make that in 100 years. The web designers are dime a dozen today. Same thing with data scientists, and this is when a real data scientist will worth in the future. not a programmer. A programmer will be today's Python hour, blah blah blah. Tomorrow is nothing. You press a button, and how to say, the code generates itself, etc. So they will be dime a dozen as well. So I totally agree with you. Why only get a job when you can actually create something, a real company that will create jobs, that will do good for society, and then that will reach much further than just going to work, going back home and watching Netflix.
I think it's important to raise that the salary of whoever data scientist is based on the market demand. So if there's not enough people educated, and here I point out that we really need to include more women, more people that are not identifying with the two society genders, so LGBTQA plus, disabled people, people of colors, all of them, they are represented and they are part of a society. So when we talk about data scientists, there's some people who are making some shortcut by saying he, but the society is very diverse. So we need to reflect this diversity within the society, also within the people who are coding, who are, defining also the requirements for any data science job or any data science use case, all of that. It should be there. That is all.
Yeah.
And second, coding, if you feel more comfortable coding and you would like to switch to data science, let's start from it. It always starts with little baby steps. So if one person within an audience is more comfortable with coding, then let's start from the angle of coding to get into data science. But data science, I agree with you, Al, it's a whole ecosystem. We cannot reduce it just to coding. You need to know also who you are serving within the organization, within your own business, your own company, and also think about how you can tell the story. Think about also what kind of data you are using. Are they, representative of the society? Did you get the whole consent? How would you store those data? Are they, secured? Are they legal to even have them? Things like this. It's really complex. And also,
Yes.
how can you continuously improve your algorithm? How can you continuously deliver something that makes sense for the people to who you serve? So it's really complex. So if you feel more comfortable in coding, then let's start with the coding angle. If you are feeling more comfortable with the business domain knowledge, then let's start from the domain knowledge to go to data science. Data science is coupled with digital transformation. So we are all starting to, even the smallest company is starting the digital journey with this pandemic. So we will need each and every one of us to get into data science. So whatever you are feeling more comfortable to start with that, then let's jump into it. But there's no this divided word between coding and business or communication and all of that. No, the main goal is to serve the people.
True. And that I'm reading a question from Alston Fojas. What skills or qualities do you wish you knew when you started learning data science and working in industry? Myself, I wish I had more patience because really, because I had so many times in which I would show the data, I would show my results, and someone will tell me, well, but I've had 20 years experience in this market, and I know that blah, blah, blah always happens, which disapproves what you're saying. And what you're gonna say, this guy owns the company. He has like white hair and he can fire you. So you're like, yes, Buana, you're so right. So, and at the end, you are like, what am I doing here? I mean, this guy already has the answers. He's like the god of everything. So why did he even hire me in the first place? So I guess the first thing in this market is to learn to say yes, buana, or something, and then because everyone will have to go through that. Just like I had to go through cleaning rat poo in order to start with biology, and has to do with what you said too. I mean, we need to polish data, which is boring as hell. Okay, fine, but because you're going up in your career. I mean, everyone started like that, you know. So yeah,
I agree
and,
with you, Al. There's no ungrateful tasks. There's
yeah.
no. So whatever that you're doing in data science, there's no ungrateful task. I would say from my side, what I would have loved, it's really that someone asked me what I would have loved to do and what were my value. Because then I would not have, jumped from one company to another and really go straight to the point and what I really love to do. And also in data science, I know that there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of job opportunities. And for sure, each of us, we want to do the best to be the last candidate, the selected candidate to work within this position. But if you are not taken, or if you're not chosen to be the person who is working there, then just know that it was just not a good match.
And you're talking about match. In my company, Tech and Trash, I choose the data scientist myself. I don't use any recruiting companies. I get recruits all the time. Oh, we have this automatic AI-based system, blah, blah, blah. Hold on. You're talking about people. I am sure that AI can do wonders about that stuff, but you're automating this, you're making it impersonal, and then if I can actually be supportive. I can actually. I think that AI can actually support the hiring process, but at the end, as a company, I think that a company is defined by its people mostly, not even by its customers. The first and a foremost customer in a company, it's its own people. Then I first serve my own people, and after that, I serve the outside people. That's how I see it. And if I'm unable to bring people that I trust, that I know, especially because a data scientist today, it's so vital to a company, and even for a company that it's based on data, such as Tech and Trash. I mean, we sell data, so data is more than vital for us. So this is why I hire people that I spoke with, that actually many times I even had a beer, etc. So I can actually know what this guy thinks about what we are doing, etc. And then that creates trust on the data, on the results that he will produce, and creates trust as well that if he finds something some data, some fact that I don't like, that I don't want to hear because I know it will mean trouble, or something difficulty they will have to fix. I want him to feel comfortable to tell me, because if he was hired and there's a barrier between me and him, he will say, yes, Buana, you're so right, we're doing so fine, etc. Let's keep on going that way until we reach Shangri-La or whatever, when he knows exactly well that we're going to reach the opposite of Shangri-La, you know? So
Yes,
there's,
totally agree.
yeah.
And also, it's really important to know that you may be a data aficionados, but the people within your company, maybe they don't understand what you are saying. So always always be aware that what you are saying with your data science jargon can be, not understood. So your main message to bring value to the customer cannot be put into action if you, as a data practitioner, you are not able to bring this message or this story in the common language. So I would say, try it out, see what are your value in a simple words, try to experiment with the data that is available, and then become your unexpected self then.
Totally. And I think we're running out of time. I was told this should be a half an hour. I have a last question here. Actually, the very first that how do you get data from the trash? We developed a system called Stipra.com. Stipra actually rewards people for taking photos of their trash. You download an app. You go to Google Play or to Apple Play, Apple Store. You download the app. You called Stipra, and then you make videos of your household garbage. As you dispose of it, an AI system identifies each product, goes to the database, sees if the manufacturer told us to give you points to those products, and then you get the points which you can later exchange for even money. So at the end, what we are doing is providing data to these manufacturers. In exchange, they pay us, and with the money we get, we pay you to recycle. So basically, companies pay you to recycle properly. So this is how it works. So he's asking, is it all manual? No, it's totally automated. The system identifies the products, gives you points, and sends you an email saying, congratulations, we found, I don't know, 20 products, blah, blah, blah. You got X amount of points, and here your points, congratulations. Yeah. So I don't know if you had any questions for you. I was just reading them, going through them. So I guess that's it. Well,
Yes, we covered all the questions.
Yes. Well, I think that's half an hour, and then as we were told, thank you.
There is a question. Are there any books you would recommend?
I can't see that question.
It's in the chat.
Hold on. Are there books? Actually, yes. I would recommend a course that I did called the Politically Incorrect Course on Machine Learning. That's Politically Incorrect Course on Machine Learning. It's available on YouTube. There I explain all the mumbo jumbo, all the lingo, etc., from a very simple way. At the end, yes, that's how it's called, the Politically Incorrect Course on Machine Learning. I hope you found it, Joe. And then some people say that's really funny. The others say that oh, you're making fun of it. Yeah, I'm making fun of it because this is supposed to be fun. This is for people who are entering this career. So I hope you guys like it. And then thank you, guys. And
so from my side, you can read Weapons of Mass Destruction from Cathy O'Neill. I believe a lot of you knows it already. But if you also have some time to go through my website, you can also find out a lot of resources about adult entertaining industry and soon the sustainability part. I posted in the chat.
Well, again, guys, thank you so much for being here. Hope you liked it, and then I guess we'll see you hopefully next year or something. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and feel free to follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or whatsoever social media.
Sure.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.